Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google's AI Gemini API in Python. Alright, so if you have never heard of Gemini AI before, so this is basically the newest AI model that developed by Google. And apparently this AI model is much more capable than GPT by OpenAI. Alright, so anyway, right now the API is free to use until January 15, 2024. All right, so anyway, let's just quickly look at the pricing. So the model is going to be called Gemini Pro. Now, from the Gemini model, we have three different input types: image input, video input, and text input. And here are the prices. And you also get charged for the output, and it's going to be 0.0005 cents per 1,000 characters. Now, to get started using the Gemini AI model in Python, so first, make sure that you sign up for a Google Cloud Platform account. And if you're a new user, you get 300,000 credit to use for the first year. All right, so on the top, simply create a project. And if you don't have a project, simply click on New Project and follow the instructions. All right, so before we can use the AI model, we need to create a service account. And let me make the zoom a little bit bigger. All right, so go to the navigation menu, APIs and services, credentials. Now here we need to create service accounts. If you are coming from AWS or Google Azure, a service account is equivalent to AWS user. And if you are coming from Azure, then I believe that it's going to be equivalent to the resource group. All right, so here I'm going to start from scratch from this point. So on the top, click on Create Credentials. Then click on Service Account. Now give it the account name. So we can name something like Demo Service Account. Then click on Create and Continue. Now here you want to assign a role to be able to allow this account to access the API. But for demonstration purpose, I'm going to set that to owner. And if you want to be more specific, I believe that is going to be Vertex. So you'll be under Vertex AI group. So you can choose the permission set that applies to you. All right, so again, I'm going to choose owner as the role just to make things a little bit easy. Then click on continue and I'll basically create a user. Now click on done to finish the setup. All right, so right here we need to save the account credential as a JSON file. Now this is the account that I just created. Now click into the account. On the top, click on keys and create a new key by add key. Then click on create new key. Now for the key type, choose JSON and create. All right, so I'm going to save this file in my project folder. But since I already have my own service account file, I'm actually going to use that. And for my own project, I name my file serviceaccount.json. All right, so once you once you download the service account JSON file, you want to create an environment variable. All right, so let me display my environment variables list first. Once you download the JSON file, you want to create an environment variable, and you want to name the environment variable to Google Application Credentials. And make sure that the variable name is uppercase. They want to assign the file path to that JSON file that you just created. Then click on OK. So basically what happens is that when you use Vertex AI API, the API is going to look for the environment variable first, then look at the environment value, which is going to be the file path that link to your credential file. Then use that file to authenticate your account. Now create a blank Python script. All right, so for this exercise, so here I have three images. So image 1, 2, and 3. Now I want to use the first two images to guess the location of the third image. So in this case, will be Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, United States. Now let's assume that we don't know the location or the name of the landmark of this place. But we do have the information for the first two images. All right, so going back to the Python script, first we need to install the Python package. Now, to be able to access the Gemini Pro model, we need to run the command pip install Google-Cloud-AI platform. And want to make sure that we use the version is greater or equals to 1.38 and enter. Oh, and I made a mistake. So we need to wrap this with double quotations. There you go. Now, once you install the library, we can import packages. So for this exercise, I'm actually going to import the requests library. And this is a third-party package. And if you don't have the library installed, you can simply run the command pip install requests. Now, to access Google Gemini's AI model, we need to import the generative model library and the image class from Vertex AI.preview.generative models. All right, so here I'm going to create a helper function. So this function is going to take the URL from the web, and it's going to make a request code, then pass the byte string to the image from bytes method to create the image object that Google's AI uses. Then I'm going to create the image object for those three landmarks. All right, so one thing that you need to ensure that all the image file extensions are the same. So while I was playing around with the API, I ran into an issue where the API is not able to recognize one of the image. And it turns out that the first two images are PNG file, and the image that I was using before was a JPEG file. And that turned out to be the issue. So make sure that when you provide a data file or video files, make sure that the extensions of those files are going to be the same if you are going to do any sort of comparisons experiment. And once we have the source files created from the image class, then we need to define the model. From the generative model library, we need to define the model that we want to use. In this case, it's going to be Gemini Pro version model. And if you don't know what model to use, you can simply go to the documentation, and which I'll link the link in the description below after this tutorial. All right, so once we define the model, we can now create the prompt. So from the Gemini AI model, how the prompt works is, so basically you want to reference the model object. They want to use the generate content method. Inside and actually let's look at the parameter first. All right, so if we look at the generate content method, so these are the parameters. And to keep things simple, I'm only going to focus on the contents parameter. So here, the parameter accepts the contents type object. So the content types object is basically a list. Now inside the list, you need to experiment how you want to construct the prompt. And for this example or for this use case, my prompt is going to be, I want to provide the information that related to the first two images. Then I'm going to insert the data file, but I'm going to leave the rest of the information blank. So if we look at the prompt, so this is going to be the prompt in this case. I'm basically saying that here's the data file of the first image, and here's the corresponding information that are associated to that image. So we have name of the city, name of the country, and the name of the landmark for the first two images. Then I want the AI to basically fill in the blank. So here we're leaving the second element or the second position empty for that record. So essentially, you can sync each line as a message if you have used OpenAI API before. Then I can print the response object. Right, so let's give it a try. I'm going to run this code block. All right, so if we look at the response output, so here's the output. So from the candidate's property, we have this list of properties. So finish reason basically indicate that whether or not if, the prompt is finished or if the process is finished. Then there are other information such as safety rating. Inside the safety rating property, you have subproperty like category and probability. Now, the most important information is the content. So if we look at the content property, followed by parts property, and here's the output from the text property. Now, if we look at the output, the AI model came back with city is San Francisco, and the country is United States, and the landmark is Golden Gate Bridge. All right, so this is going to be everything I'm going to cover in this tutorial. So I'll be covering more examples or more projects, focusing on using OpenAI and Google Gemini AI API in the future. So if you're interested in learning how to use AI models to build different projects, then definitely subscribe to my channel and look forward to future videos related to those topics. But for now, this is everything I'm going to cover in this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this video a like and click on the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.